So the idea for this feature is whether or not Ayrton Senna still influences Brazilian drivers.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's a positive or negative thing, because there's a constant sort of comparison to Senna to be the new Senna. Do you think this happens in Brazil, or
yeah, happens a lot actually. It's like you said, can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. I think the good thing about Ayrton in Brazil is because he's an icon in the motorsport, and not just in Brazil but in the world. But it brings a lot of good fundamental driving skills and actually how to be a professional in racing motorsport. And that is the good part of it. The bad part is that people think that everyone that's coming to Europe is gonna be the new Ayrton Senna. And why the drivers, or why the Brazilian drivers are trying to say is that nobody wants to be the second Ayrton Senna. Everybody wants to be themselves. So and make their own history. That's the bad part of it.
Do you think, like, when you go to sort of get backing, for example, do you think sponsors want this sort of new Senna, or not really? Is that what they're looking for, or is there more scope for independence?
Obviously, for example, for Bruno Senna, it was much easier to find sponsorship because his surname is very popular in Brazil. For other drivers like myself, I got a name Razia, which is a common name. It's not a big name in motorsport. It's a little bit more difficult, so we have to concentrate more work on results and trying to build up your name and be interesting to companies to sponsor you. I think people that don't have a strong name in motorsport is always difficult to come up, and especially to find sponsorship. But I think the companies are following the path where they're gonna be branded and where they're gonna be racing and what is good for them, you know what I mean? They are not just asking for second Ayrton Senna, but they want someone that could bring the brand up, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so we've established that Senna's sort of a double-edged sword kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, so have the successes of Felipe Massa, world champion for 16 seconds, and Rubens Barrichello, obviously second place with Ferrari, third with Brawn, has sort of the successes of those two taken some of the pressure off to be sort of like this next Senna, and then say, you know, Felipe, you know, you can look sorry. But the things that Felipe and Rubens have done, is that something as well that's placed upon you, or not so much now?
I think Felipe did a brilliant job in 2008 and all
Absolutely.
Those years close with Schumacher, and Rubens have been with F1 for 19 years, so I cannot judge anything about them. I'm just pleased that they represent Brazil, and then they always got some results for the country. But I don't think that influenced a lot on my life and how we're gonna approach my career. I think everybody wants to win, and I want to win. If Massa arrives second, that's not my goal. I want to be a world champion. But in the meantime, we need to focus on where we are now, which is GP2, and we are doing a great season. And the future we never know, so we have to look them and be proud, but also we want to do better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, third question. Does the Brazilian media, like the British media, feel the need to create new identities for drivers? So this is the new Senna, this is the new Massa, this is the new Barrichello. Have you experienced any of that, and is it quite uncomfortable? Because, you know, here it's always like Vettel was the new Schumacher, and now we've got the new Hamilton, and you know, so. Yeah,
actually, I think the media tries to sell a lot that, because that brings a lot of clicks and a lot of venue to the sport. All right, so that's just the part of the job of the media to do it. But I don't bore about that, and I didn't fill up myself with this kind of situations yet. A lot of people think, oh, Luiz now is doing a very good job. We hope he's gonna be a champion in GP2, the first Brazilian champion, then move up to Formula 1, bring some new blood. But I think they starting a little bit to realize that nobody's gonna be the next Ayrton or next Schumacher. Everybody gonna write their own history. You know?
Yeah, that's quite nice. I was as I said, I spoke to Felipe yesterday,
Yeah.
and he said, and we were talking about why it's difficult for young Brazilian drivers to get into F1 at the moment, and he said a lot of it is because it's not because of backing so much, it's just they don't have the right people in place.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Why do you think it's difficult? And you know,
well, it's a matter of fact of many situations where some of the Brazilian drivers, they don't have a very good manager behind. Myself, I don't have any. And second, I think nowadays, even you being champion or be a very good driver, a very talented and very professional, you still need the backing to get in F1, which the big teams are already complaining about salary of their own special drivers. Imagine for us trying to get in F1, they don't even think about it to pay us, you know what I mean? So I think it's in general, it's not just for the Brazilian, it's just for everybody that got results and got talent and they have showing some professional driving skills and showing they are capable to be in F1 and to be a good driver there, but they still need the backing, they still need some political environment and sort of stuff like that. So it's not easy nowadays, and if you look the grid in F1, they have 24 drivers and they are really good drivers. You know what I mean? They have 7 world champions and 6 world champions, and then the rest are GP2 champions and other categories champions. So to get there is really difficult, not just because of the backing money, but also the drivers are there, they are really good already, you know what I mean? So it's not simple.
Right, considering you were test driver for Virgin and Lotus / Caterham, how close did you feel you were to F1, considering Trulli left Caterham as well, so there was a vacant seat? How close do you think you were?
I was very close to deal with Caterham last year, but because of money I couldn't. And then finally Petrov got the place, so I was close by this much to get it. Yeah,
because I looked at your lap times at Sao Paulo last year, and they were probably the same as what Trulli would have done with that car. Second off Kovalainen, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very close, and actually we have done some testing in Abu Dhabi before that.
I saw that on the Lotus channel.
And I was the best driver at that time, and then obviously in Brazil was very good, and everybody was very pleased with my work, not just in a car but outside and feedback. So was by that much to get an F1 last year, but I think now I feel much more prepared and more a different person actually. I reinvent myself this season. In a way, I approach everything in life. So I think if I got the right environment and the right time and the right money, F1 is gonna be a big time for me.
Good. Do you think you can do it?
I think I'm definitely sure that if I have the right money and the right team, I can step up and do really well.
Okay, because Felipe suggested he's got a 2-year plan to be within to get to F1. Do you have something similar? Or?
No, I definitely want to be next season. I think I've done a good job since last year on the F1 roles that I had.
Yeah. And
this season so far, I showed some very good pace and good results.
Yeah.
But yet needs to confirm that through the season. We going now for Valencia for the half of the season, and I hope to be in Singapore in a very good place to win the championship.
Good. Okay. So just a few other sort of general questions. The season, you obviously won in Sepang. You've done pretty well in other races as well. Second in the championship. Can you win it this season?
yeah, that's the goal. I mean, nobody wake up thinking I'm gonna lose. I wake up every day and I want to win, and I remember every day my homework, which is do everything I can possibly do to win races. I've been working very hard with James, with my trainer. He's the head of Red Bull training, and we've been working so hard also with mental skills with Tom McPherson in Bath. So I think I have a good team behind me also. Arden is doing very well. My engineer Chris is the second year with them, and I think we have everything to win this championship.
Okay. What's obviously the speed difference, but what are the other differences between a GP2 car and an F1 car in terms of how you go about the weekend, in terms of driving and everything?
It's very different, I would say. It's a very good school category for graduate F1 drivers. You learn everything. You learn very hard competition, strategy, pit stops. You learn about setup, about aerodynamics and everything. So I think it's great category. But apart from that, the car in F1 is just so different. Every time you got in the car is something different. They improved something, some updates they brought from last race. So every time you got there is different. The weight of the car is different. You have much more distributed weight, so you have the rear and the front working much better than GP2. It's a very heavy car on the rear. And aerodynamic also, it's completely different. They have their rules to work, and then they work bits to work more the front or more the rear, and GP2 is standard all year. And the tires are also different. I mean, people think that the GP2 tires are the same in F1. They are as a compound, but the construction and also the stiffness of the tire is different. So I would say it's quite different car.
Okay. Last question, favourite Formula 1 driver?
Fernando Alonso.
Why?
I think he's very tough mental. His skill to adapt whatever he got in hands is very good. And I think any driver that is aiming to win a championship nowadays needs to have that. Whatever you got in hands, you need to work it and make it work. You know what I mean? So Alonso definitely is a very tough driver. But I think I point this season to Hamilton. Hamilton probably will win this season.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.